Hello and welcome, everybody. We're back for another episode 31 of All Elite Zone. Uh, awesome to be here again, and nice to see the original crew is back in the house. Connor, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. It's great to be back on. I've been on the Canadian side of things in a little bit, so it's good to be back on here.
Yeah, you've been a busy boy. So it's nice to have you back. And Adam, I don't even know what I'm going to do without you if you're on this. I'm so used to being on this show here.
I know I'm very used to being on Canada. I think I'm on like 2 or 3 shows a week. I can't even remember anymore. I've lost count.
Nice shirt, by the way. Siren, also nice shirt. How are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely phenomenal. I had a really great day today, surprisingly. But
Good to hear. We're slowly. I think we're at spring. I think spring rolls in tonight, around 11 p.m. I think so. Even though it's been a very mild and easy going winter here, at least in Ontario, that's for sure. Well, guys, I know we had a big event last week, and I know we talked about it. Some of our predictions last week. The big business, which took place in the TD Garden in Boston. And of course, the debut, which we all knew, of the original Sasha Banks, Monet, Mercedes Monet. There we go. She came out first. Interesting anthem. Connor, what did you think?
So, seen my reaction to it. On a better reaction, I didn't really have much of a reaction. I mean, Mercedes, she's never been one of my favorites. To some people, she's their favorites, or just now became their favorites because she's in AEW. It was a pretty decent debut. I thought it would make sense to do it later in the show because if you look at the viewer rate, like the segment by segment, everyone tuned in to Sasha Banks, Mercedes. And after that, everyone left. But she was in multiple parts of the show, which I thought was really good. She wasn't just in the beginning. I thought her pop would have been a little bit bigger, or at least to me, it didn't sound people expected she would be there. Like it was pretty much obvious she was going to be there. Or if she wasn't, that'd have been interesting. If she wasn't there, I'd have liked to have seen that, see how that would have played out. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty decent debut. I'm curious to see what she does in AEW. But yeah, I'm not one of these fan accounts on Twitter that go overly excited about it. Pretend I like Sasha Banks when a few months ago I hated her. Yeah, that's. I'm curious to see what she does in AEW. I hope she evolves the women's division, not just for herself, but AEW in general, entire women's division. Which I think she'll do. Yeah. I thought it was a pretty decent debut.
Good. Adam, were you chanting CEO?
No, but I did like the entrance music. If nobody knows, her entrance music was actually Symphony Number 9 by Antonin Dvorak, which was basically the back the do 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 do, which by the way was Walter's old theme back when he did Independence. So I actually thought that was pretty cool. Little bit of a tidbit for everybody out there listening about because I'm starting to listen to classical music again. But yeah, no, I thought it was a cool debut. She got straight to the point on the mic. Do I wish someone came out? Yeah, I kind of wish someone came out and came face to face with her, but I think the debut was just right, where it was more the spotlight on her being back home and being back in, the American Wrestling Ring and not being over in New Japan. I like the story they're going with. They're actually intertwining her with the TBS title storyline going on with Willow, Chris, Sky, and Julia. So it's kind of like interweaving there. Obviously, she did mention she has unfinished business with Willow. Obviously, from the hurt ankle in the New Japan match. But I honestly am excited to see what she does. Like I said, I didn't have a problem with her as Sasha Banks in WWE. I think when you look at some of these wrestlers who do their independent work and then go to other promotions and kind of do better and kind of make a name for themselves. I think that's the right call. You look at someone like Nick Namath, who's over in TNA, doing well for himself. You look at someone like, Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks doing it over AEW. Matt Cardona, we bring him up a lot, the indie darling, doing wonders for himself on the indies. So I think it's going to be good to see where she goes with this. And obviously, I think another story that a lot of people want to see her in is hooking up with Saraya again, because there's history there, as she was the one that kind of put Saraya on the shelf. So very excited to see where it goes, and see what it does for the women's division.
Great. Siren, what did you think of
All
the
my points got
debut?
covered. All my points got covered. It was good. Yeah, no, she's cool. I'm excited for cosplay, I guess. She does
Right?
cosplay, right? Awesome. Gee.
Yeah.
Sorry,
you know what?
Siren. I might have been the one that took all your points. Sorry.
You did, you son of a bitch. That's okay.
But,
That's okay. I like her cosplay. She does neat cosplay, and that is a solid point that I would like to hit.
well, the fact that she was a pretty good character in The Mandalorian, I got to give her credit for that.
Star Wars guy.
And the fact that I have her action figure, I have that action figure. I don't actually have her wrestling figure, but I have her Star Wars Mandalorian figure.
No, that's cool.
She was getting a lot of heat on. I was reading some of the comments after on some of the groups, and people were ripping her, saying it was a terrible promo. She didn't look happy to be there. I mean, like it wasn't that bad, and like, people forget, if people have been away, they're all just humans, and that's a big moment, and in front of a huge crowd. There's excitement, there's butterflies, there's nerves, like and you got to give us because that's a big moment for anybody, right? So, and you always hear that a lot of time when people come back, they don't know if they're going to be received, the way they were. Did they get, were they forgotten, anything like that? And I thought it was a big pop. You could see why they used that anthem, and I was like, oh, is this kind of like the play off the boss, the CEO? They're still kind of using that kind of business. The big business was a thing. CEO comes out. Interesting. I thought that someone might come out, but I can see why they kind of left her and let her have that moment. And again, just like what Connor brought up, why they brought her back out at the end, which I was actually very frustrated with, because I always feel that a heavyweight championship match like a Samoa Joe and Wardlow should have been on last. But I can see why at the end, why they had the Willow and who was it? Willow and
Rio.
Yes. I think, and then I understood why they brought that match on last, because they had her come out at the end, and again, kind of finale show. And so I was like, okay, we'll talk about that after, but we'll see. I was never actually a big fan of hers to begin with, but I'm excited to see what she can do, if she can bring another element, bring her experience to AEW and having a different character. Maybe I just didn't like the Sasha Banks character. She just has to stop that dance and not do that dance. Like,
I only had ever seen her as Mercedes Moné. I'd only ever seen her like New Japan stuff.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there, but yeah, that's my point. So good take. Just wanted to get your thoughts, guys, and I thought a great match, and I know we've been really critical of Wardlow, but I thought that match was definitely a thumbs up. The Samoa Joe and Wardlow. I still think that should have been on last. It deserved to be on last, but still a great match. And you know what? I'm starting to. I'm cutting some slack for Wardlow. He's a good performer, and he's giving it his all. So, Connor, what did you think? Did you think it was a positive, that match?
Yeah, I really, really. Ever since Wardlow cut that one promo by himself, he's really starting to improve. Like, we've already known that he's good in the ring. Like, he's kind of established that he can do a lot of moves that a lot of big men like him can't do. Exactly, he's really improved. Mike says,
Yep.
He can do a swanton bomb. He can do a lot of moves, and I feel like he has one of the best finishers. The finisher that he does in the corner and he has the wrestler, and then he drops their head on his knee, basically. Like, that's one of the best finishes in AEW and in video game. In the AEW video game, actually, that's the best finisher in the game. I really like his finisher. I thought he's been really improving on the mic since that one promo, and then he had another promo collision with Jericho. I think that he's establishing himself as why he should be a world champion in the future. I'm kind of glad that either way, I was going to be glad who had won, but I'm glad Joe won because I don't think it's time for him to lose it just yet. And I feel like if Wardlow, I feel like Wardlow will be a world champion in AEW. And when it happens, I think it should be a full planned out story and not just planned last minute for like a 1 week build. I feel like it should be for a pay-per-view, a big deal, because Wardlow's homegrown talent from AEW has been there since basically day one. I think this match was really good, and Wardlow's really improved over the past few weeks. So I hope they continue to use him and him continue to develop in AEW.
Adam.
Yeah, I think it was positive. I think it was much more improvement than what we've seen from Wardlow over the last couple of years. Obviously, they lost kind of a lot of momentum with him, breaking away from MJF. So seeing him kind of improving a little bit, and like Connor said, that promo was fantastic work. He got a lot better with it, but also his in-ring work is a lot better. I know a few weeks ago he had that scare on Dynamite with the knee, but it was just like a little tweak and nothing serious, so he was fine. So thank God for that, because that could have derailed a lot of things for him. But
did you notice the brace? Did you notice the knee brace that we had on?
I did, and that's smart. That's precaution, which is good, because he knew, he's like, if I could just work with the knee brace, then I'll be fine. But yeah, no, I think it's a big improvement. Really, really impressed by his work. I did like the little promo, video promo of Adam Cole reading the book, Story Time with Adam Cole, basically in his evil form with Wardlow. I thought that was great. The match was great. I didn't think it was a bad match. I'm glad Joe won, and I'm glad they brought Swerve back out. That continues the story between those two guys, kind of still building towards the chase for Swerve to win that world title. I do have a few predictions in that picture. One, imagine MJF coming back, and you get a fatal four-way at All In at Wembley between Joe, Swerve, Adam Cole once he's healed, and MJF. So for the world title, and you get Swerve over, and MJF gets in his face because both of them were this close of winning it, but Swerve gets it, and MJF actually shakes his hand, and then you have MJF go off with his story with Adam Cole, kind of end that, and then you bring it back around to MJF versus Swerve for the world title. I think that would be really cool to see. But overall, I thought it was a good match, and I definitely have seen a lot of improvement in Wardlow.
All right. Siren.
I absolutely loved it. I mean, I can put Samoa Joe against pretty much anybody and enjoy the match. Whether or not he has like an actual fight on his hands, or if he just gets to dismantle them in seconds, it's going to be fun for me to watch. So it was good. And I do agree that Wardlow has definitely improved. I had so much hope for face Wardlow. And then he started talking, and I was like, oh, no, stop. So this is like a really good pivot, and I really like what they're doing with him, and I love his like whole ego thing. I think it's really great. I like that. I was like, if they don't do it during this match, I'm going to be very sad. I'm pretty sure they actually did have like a second where he checked himself out, and I was like, that's awesome. So yeah, all in all, aces.
Yeah, no, I'm a fan. I really like the heel Wardlow, and I like the cockiness Wardlow, and I like the pose down and the posing and watching. I like that. Like, I like it, if you're gonna do it, go all in, right?
I mean, I like to watch it too. So
yeah. So no, I'm excited. I think he's got. No, I think they're going to do. I think we're going to probably see more of him in this character, and he's done a good job. So I think he's going to get that push that we need. You can't not push him if he's with these guys. You can't not push him, because it's just going to also devalue, Adam Cole and what he's doing, because he's the mouthpiece. So you have to let these guys win, right? And you can see the gold starting to add up. So we'll see what happens there. But Connor, I'll pass it to you. What was one of your bright spots? This past week, from either Big Business or even like Rampage or Collision? Is there anything that stood out for you?
something that really stood out was the return of Kyle O'Reilly. I really, really like Kyle O'Reilly. I loved him. Before he got injured, he was really good on a really good singles run. He, as Kurt Angle said, he won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck. But Kyle O'Reilly almost became AEW World Champion with a broken freaking neck. Almost doesn't count, but he was going on a really good singles run before he got injured. He almost beat Moxley. He won that Battle Royal. He beat Jungle Boy. He beat Phoenix. He beat a lot of top names. See him back now, and he hasn't lost a step. He looked just like he was before he got injured. His match
Except for the
against
Mountain
Brian
Man.
on Collision was really, really good. I hope they continue that story, and I feel like Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly will probably be going for they'll go against each other for the International Championship. Or they could have Kyle O'Reilly join the Undisputed Kingdom, but I don't think that's I think people expect that, but it's not really going to happen. Kind of like what they had at Revolution. Like you'd think he'd had the big reunion, but he kind of shied away from it. But for me, Kyle O'Reilly's return was really something I was looking forward to for 2 years. At some point, at one point, I thought he was never going to come back because it'd been 2 years since he had wrestled. So at that point, 2 years, you wonder if he's ever going to come back. But I'm glad that he's back and he's healthy, and I hope that he achieves a lot in AEW.
Adam, what are your thoughts on the return of Mr. O'Reilly?
Yeah, no, it's great to see him back. It was weird seeing him back at Revolution with the long hair and the bags under the eyes and everything like that. He looks a lot more ripped though. Like he looks more bulky, which is nice, which means he's been in the gym, kind of getting bigger, which is good because he was such a scrawny guy. So it's great to see him put some muscle on and everything like that. But yeah, I'm very excited to see, where they go with the story between him and Undisputed Kingdom. Because it's almost crazy to think that him and, Roderick, they're like best of friends, but the rest of the group, like he's iffy about it. You know what I mean? So I honestly think with him, they need to pan it out a little bit with him. Not really rush into it with him in the Undisputed Kingdom, kind of pan it out and see where it goes. But I honestly want to see him in more. I mean, the match he had on Collision wasn't bad. It was his first match back in a while. But I like to see him tangle it up with some good guys in the ring, some solid matches. But yeah, that's pretty much my take on Kyle O'Reilly.
Siren, how do you feel about this return?
I didn't know it was him initially. I was like, who the heck is that? Oh my god, it's Kyle O'Reilly. And yeah, I gotta admit though, I wasn't as big of a fan as Connor was before. I know he was on like a tear, but like out of the group that he was with, I was definitely like meh. At the time, I guess for me, and but I'm excited to see him back. I definitely am excited, mostly because when he came back, he did the exact opposite of what I thought he was going to do, and that immediately had me interested. So, like, that was awesome.
Yeah, the comment there, Kyle versus Garcia. I think that'd be a great match as well. Yeah, you know what? I only knew, I think when I was listening to Kyle O'Reilly and he was doing his little interview and kind of saying, "Oh, I guess I got to do it on my own now," and kind of sounding like a little bit. Unsure of himself. I've never seen this kind of character, right? Because I've always known him, obviously when he was with the Undisputed and kind of character, and then always just being a heel. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does and who he will align himself with if it's not going to be with some of his old friends. So I don't know. You know what? We could still see it down the road. But I'm interested to see where they're going to go with the storyline with them. But it's just always nice to have another skilled wrestler back in the mix. Which again, I think it's a stacked lineup right now. I think I love the lineup. I have no issues with the lineup right now. And AEW has been pretty serious about bringing some serious talent back, and some guys just coming back from injury. It all just kind of starting to click, which I think is great. Adam, over to you. What was a bright spot for you besides what we already talked about?
I have a few, if that's okay. I have two from Dynamite, one from Collision. My two from Dynamite obviously start off with the Darby Allin Jay White match. I thoroughly enjoyed that one. There was a lot of good back and forths. Obviously, Darby selling the injuries very, very well. So, and Jay Lethal definitely playing that hard hitter in the match. A lot of good spots, a lot of outside action, which was great. And then obviously the final breakup of Bang Bang Scissor Gang. Obviously thrilled about it. Thank God. And I'm glad it's Bullet Club Gold because they are so much better as heels than they are faces. So I think it's great that they went the heel route and basically turned on the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. I'm thinking maybe Tony caught wind of audiences not really getting behind it and said, you know what, let's just break them up. But I thoroughly enjoyed that whole segment in general, that match, and then the end segment. And then the second thing is women getting the main event. And Willow and Rio definitely put on a hell of a match. It was a good solid 15 minutes. Good 15 minutes. It did the run over on time as well. So I'm so glad that they got a chance to shine. And Willow has really impressed me a lot. Obviously, I really didn't know who she was until I saw her on AEW because I didn't know any of her previous wrestling stuff. Mm-hmm. So, but once I saw her on AEW, I kind of fell in love with her work style and her wrestling style in the ring, especially against a smaller opponent like Rio. And so many near falls and so many big moments in that match. I loved it. And the end segment to that as well, with Mercedes coming back out and saving Willow, but also like as soon as Willow left the ring, you kind of saw Mercedes kind of give the side glance to Willow, kind of say, we still got more work to do between you and I. But yeah, that I enjoyed. And then Saturday at Collision, the shocking upset victory of the Infantry over House of Black in the tag team tournament. For me, here's the shocker of it. I'm happy because it's someone different. It's the Infantry, and they get a chance to shine, and they get a chance to show what they can do in a tournament style and kind of against a big team like the House of Black. But I'm sorry, I don't know what they're doing with the House of Black because I love the House of Black so much, and what they're doing right now, they're kind of in a stalemate with them against Mark Briscoe still. And to me, that should have ended. Obviously, Death Before Dishonor, Mark Briscoe has the world title match against Eddie Kingston. So I don't know if they get involved in that and cost Mark Briscoe, or maybe he wins and they attack him afterwards. We don't know, and they finish it up in like a hardcore match or whatever and just finish it off. But I'd like to see the House of Black back to prominence, winning titles together, doing something. Obviously, don't know what's going on with their contracts. Obviously, don't see Brody King a lot anymore. You see more so Buddy and Malachi together in matches other than Brody. And so only that kind of mark on it. I enjoyed that match. I'm always a tag team guy, so that's why I enjoyed that match on that upset. So those are my takeaways from the week.
Siren, do you want to comment on either or both of those points?
I was really hoping that they were going to do this awesome thing where, like, because Mark he said, like, oh, it's my rookie year of singles. So I was really hoping that he was going to, like, go through the House of Black, like, one at a time. Like, awesome. Create a giant feud. Like, have him popping out at each other and, like, make it a thing and make him go through it all. But you're right. What else are they doing with the House of Black? They aren't really taking a whole lot of wins. Brody was actually doing a lot more singles than, Malachi on the... He really wasn't doing anything in singles. Brody was doing more singles. Mm-hmm. I know he had that thing for a little bit with Darby, but I thought those were solid points. Other than that,
and how did you find? It's. I'll go back because I kind of started on talking about this, so I'll jump on your point there, Adam. About I know you said that you liked how Willow and Rio took the main event. I think that could have all been still accomplished while Mercedes was finishing her promo and kind of, sometimes that they have to do it where all of a sudden, the music starts, right? And you see, well, Willow can come down. You could almost achieve like almost interrupting, but not, because it's like, hey, we're on to the next segment. You got to get out of the ring. You could still have that little bit of a showdown, still have it accomplished. And I think it's still been that match of Rio and Willow, I think would have been a good match to start right after. I think it still would have been pumped because, I'm big. I didn't really like, again, because I just said I still think Joe, I think a championship match should still be at the end. I still think it should have been Samoa and Wardlow. And hang on, I got you. For the House of Black, yes, I watched that match today. I was floored to see the House of Black lose that. Maybe if they're trying to do it for shock value, because I was floored by it because I expected to win. I thought that was going to be an easy win in the tournament. Kind of like, oh, this is really like, you might have just given the bye, and I thought for sure House of Black would be going, and they didn't. So I don't know if it's like the shock value to say, hey, anything can happen in these tournaments, and still getting over and having Mark interrupt it and still have that is the way that the infantry got over, which I wasn't familiar with. So I am not familiar with the infantry.
They're a lot on ROH.
Yes, so I figured they might as well get a chance. So I'm like, okay, they got to be at least somebody, so maybe I got to look back and see, watch some of their work. So I don't know. So from a point of view of just being an AEW fan and not really knowing them, I kind of was like, are you kidding me? But I can see if you are fans and Ring of Honor fans and you follow them, you might be like, yes, awesome. So Siren, go ahead.
I'm gonna explode. Okay, the reason this ladies match was at the end is because if you listen to Mercedes Moné's promo and everything that she's done in the whole women's wrestling movement, is she likes women main eventing things. She's main evented some pretty bitchin' events as Sasha Banks, right? Like, so like having the women main evented and like the whole thing with her and Willow at the end was kind of like a it was all tied in. She even said maybe I'll be main eventing, that was women main eventing.
I knew it. At the end, I knew that it was also one of the reasons, probably one of the main reasons of having the ladies on last was so you could have Mercedes come back out and still kind of finish the show, right? Because again, so I was like, oh, okay, this is what they wanted. That last pop, it ended on that note, so I kind of got it. Again, well, I just know how I feel about that one.
Ladies. Yeah, I get it though, and you're right. That was a solid banger of a match. It could have ended the show for sure.
But you know what? Another return I actually was really excited about, and the fans have been really excited about, even in Ottawa and the prior, is Pac. I'm excited for Pac. Pac looks amazing. It's almost like getting someone that's because we haven't seen him in a while. 8 months, they said. I think I heard Tony Schiavone say he's been out. He always looks fantastic. The guy looks amazing. He hasn't, hasn't lost a beat. He's interacting. He's the fan. The crowd's into it. So I think again. So I said, they're bringing on some great talent signings, but having some of these guys coming back from injury at this time too really just beefs everything up. Adam.
Yeah, and Pac. That's another point I want to take. The Pac promo after his match was so great. Loved it when he said, "I'm just looking for trouble." And after he won against Solo, he goes, that wasn't the trouble I was looking for.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I love his promo. He's so real in his character, and I freaking love it. Like, he's heel but face, and he plays that medium. He's kind of like an anti-hero in AEW. So that like promo kind of touched like that. Yeah, and kind of like Samoa Joe. Like that, he touches that base, and that's what I really loved about Pac, and I'm really glad he's back.
Me too. Connor.
Yeah, last year he only had 3 matches. That's kind of hard to believe. He had 3 matches last year, and he's a very talented individual. Like I've said since day one. Like I watched AEW since day one, and Pac's been one of my favorites since day one. Like he's got, like his first singles match, he beat Kenny Omega, and he made Kenny Omega tap out. How many people can say the first night in AEW they made Kenny Omega tap out? Kenny Omega. Pac's already the first ever double champion in AEW. And I would really get behind being world champion in AEW. I feel like someone like him can really pull that off. I like to see him as tag champion. I like to see, personally, if I had to pick the first Grand Slam champion in AEW, it'd be Pac. I really, really, really like Pac. On Wednesday, Pac's return. I was more excited for Pac's return than I was for Mercedes. Believe it or not, because I really, really like Pac more than. Which I'm not really a big Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné fan. That's something else, but I really like Pac. He's just like he is like as you see him on TV, he's just like that in person. I met him in 2022, and he acts just the same way. Like he's very, very nice, but with that bastardist look. Yeah, I was really excited to see Pac back, and I hope they hopefully he stays healthy and he can have a better year this year than he did last year.
Oh, Siren.
I'm super stoked. I love him very much. I feel like he was the closest person that we had to pushing Orange into Blood Orange, and I feel like I want that again. Maybe not with, Orange, but like I want that intensity. Like he can tell a story in the ring. Like he doesn't have to like speak. Like a lot of the matches that he had with Orange, he was going through that internal struggle. And you could really see it in his work in the ring, and it was so fun to watch. The man is just compelling, and I'm very, very, very excited for him to be back. Like I am, like, so yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, Adam, how do you are you excited for the return of Pac, and where do you see him going?
Yeah, no, I already answered this. Yeah, I'm very excited. Yeah, very excited to see Pac back and see where he goes. So
Sorry. You know what I was thinking? You know what I was going to answer? I was going to ask. I wanted to jump on your the match that we kind of. I didn't. Nobody kind of touched that after. It was the Switchblade and Darby match. Great match. Great to see. I think there's going to be some great things for Switchblade from a singles point of view, because they really were pushing like, hey, he hasn't. This is his first singles match. I never thought that. And again, I'm as happy as you guys are that they finally broke up the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. I always kind of felt it was kind of an act, anyways. They were, like you said, they were faces, but they just kind of felt like heels that were just playing a face for a little while, right? Because they weren't fully. They were kind of so. This turn obviously was happening. We all know it's going to happen, and you can't trust these guys, right? Darby took a couple of bumps that were cringeworthy again. Like he just didn't have to. I'm like, oh my god, his poor wounds. Like the way he bounced off the ring apron when he did the coffin drop, and yeah. Oh yeah, and his foot in the eye with a bat at the end. So it's nice to see. So I'm glad they broke it up. So we'll see what happens with this feud that happens. But no, I'm glad to see, and I think it's time for Switchblade to start getting some bigger matches, and I think he's going to be pushed up to the singles the singles group. I don't know if they're going to lose their titles. That way he can go on his own a little bit. But there's so many guys that he could be put with now. He could be right up there, in the mix with Pac. I don't know. He should be up there with Danielson. He could be up there with Okada, like any of these guys, right? I think he'd be a good opponent for. But I don't know. Siren, did you? I don't know if you commented on the Darby match.
All I know is, aren't they talking? Like, didn't they say that his foot is actually busted? Like, didn't he actually fuck his foot up?
Yeah.
Did he really? Was it real?
Yeah, like a week. Like, if you look at the X-ray, like the 3 bones in the center of the top of his foot are just like, man, like you ain't climbing no mountain. Like you ain't doing nothing. Like, sorry.
Hey,
I don't mean to laugh, but like maybe that's the universe saying, "Bro, slow down."
So when did he actually break it? It wasn't in the ring, right? That was just the work. But did he actually break it before that? Or is this a whole thing of work? The caps at this.
He's gonna be. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I know he wrestled with the broken foot in the match, so he could have broke it before or during the match. But he's not climbing Mount Everest anymore. Or maybe he is. I don't know. Knowing Darby, he probably would climb Mount Everest with a broken foot.
I'm sorry, you're not medically cleared to wrestle. That means you can't climb that mountain, sir. Like,
what I will say about the J, I'm really glad that group's broken up. Like that was the best night of the whole entire show for me. Like that group sucked. It never should have happened. No one wanted it. The only one who wanted it was Tony Khan's pocket, so he can get a few dollars off those shirts.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're probably gonna. I feel like at Dynasty they're finally gonna have the Bullet Club Gold versus the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn, but it's probably not going to be to unify those titles. I guess they want to do away with the ROH Trios titles. I don't know how they're going to do that, but I feel like Bullet Club Gold should be the next AEW Trios champions. as according to Billy Gunn, aren't doing anything with them. They haven't defended the titles in 2 months. They don't. I feel like AEW doesn't even have trios champions at this point.
I mean,
they don't
even before this, the
I think it'd be a
ROH
nice.
titles.
Yeah, I think it'd be a nice reset to have Bullet Club Gold, Jay White, and the Guns as trios champions. But yeah, after that, I feel like they should have Jay White go for international or TNT. Or I know he's not going to be a world champion anytime soon, but yeah.
Just a good, I don't know about Adam Cole. Just a comment there. What do we think about Adam Cole being champion? There's a lot of guys that put in front. That'd be a tough.
I think he'll be world champion at some point, considering the story with MJF. And I don't know. We'll see. I really hope they don't do Joe and Swerve that Dynasty, because we've kind of already seen that match at Revolution. And if they have Swerve win at Dynasty, doesn't make sense, because Hangman really costed Swerve that match. So just to have Swerve win it the next pay-per-view and then Hangman not even be involved doesn't even make sense. So I don't know. That could, but Cole's going to be cleared any time now. He should be cleared. I'm surprised he's not already wrestling. He should be cleared any time. Yeah, he should. I think he'll be world champion. I think at some point he will be.
Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I think he'll win the title. I don't know when. He might even win it off Swerve at some point. And then you could continue the feud between him and MJF, with MJF chasing the title back. So I do see it. Is it going to happen at the end of this year? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe in 2025, depending on how long Cole was with them. But I think at some point, like I said, I think Joe holds on to that title either till Double or Nothing or All In. And so until Swerve wins, and then Swerve's going to hold it for a few months. So I think to that end, I think you can't really have Adam Cole win it right away, kind of because of the story he has with Joe about Joe selling the soul to the devil, blah, blah, blah. So I think you see Swerve hold it till the end of 2024. Maybe they do it again at World's End this year, where someone wins the title off of Swerve. And it could be Adam Cole, and then you continue the feud of Adam Cole and MJF.
Siren, how do you feel about Adam Cole as champion?
I think Adam Cole is a tiny little porcelain doll who needs to stop getting broken before he's allowed to have a belt.
It's true. It's true.
You know how you're talking about Top Flight and like they need to be back and like not be hurt for a while? I feel the same thing about him. Like, wait, you're gonna put the belt on him and then he's gonna like jump off the ring and hurt himself? I don't know. I mean, it's not that he's a bad wrestler. It's not that he is bad at anything. I think he's phenomenal on the mic. Great storyteller when he's in ring. His work in ring is great. I mean, but like, how he's been injured for most of his contract, has he not? Like, and not this isn't the only injury. He's had multiple.
He just came back from an injury, and he basically went a few weeks. Then he hurt his ankle by jumping off the ramp onto the ring.
I thought the first year was really AEW's fault, because he was injured. It was Forbidden Door 2022. He was injured going into that match. He never should have even been in that match. Like he had already had a concussion going into it, and then he had another concussion and injured. So I don't know how he got cleared for that.
Yeah, I don't know how he got cleared for that either. But like, I mean, I don't know. At this point, I don't even see him as much of a wrestler as much as I see him as like a manager. He's the guy in the wheelchair that talks for the kingdom. Like, I don't know. Like, I get it. I'll feel different. Again, I'm very emotional. You guys know this. And I also have like something that's like object permanence. You know what I mean? So like if you stop wrestling for a little bit and like, I don't know, maybe that's what it is. I just seeing him like trying in my mind's eye to visualize him as a world champion, I still see him in a boot in a wheelchair, and I'm like, that doesn't seem like a fun run to me. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, that'll probably change once he starts wrestling again.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe if he's ready to wrestle, I still think they're going to have him in this character, in this capacity for a little bit longer, being kind of the henchman, the leader in the wheelchair. I think that's still kind of working, which is actually kind of funny that Roderick was doing the gimmick
They literally
with the
just
wheelchair,
changed.
and now it's just changed, and now he's into it. I wonder if he's going to do kind of like the Roderick, like, oh, he looks like he's hurt, and then he's going to get up and super kick, right? I think that's going to be one of those things, and like, ha ha ha, I'm in, okay, and right, we know something like that's going to happen. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel there's so many strong guys right now. It's
That's what I
hard for
mean.
me
Like, I can't.
to put
Which I
them at
will
the
say-
top. Right? It's
which
I
I will
find
say-
that. Go ahead.
I will say about Tony Khan is, when someone gets injured, like someone that's supposed to win a title, like Chris Statlander, for example, she was pretty much going to beat Jade way before when she won it. He's the type of person that, which I like this about Tony Khan, is when, like WWE, if someone gets injured, they're not going to, like Finn Balor, like when he lost it, only had it for a day, they didn't give him a rematch ever, really. Like they could give two craps, but Tony Khan cares about that. So when someone gets injured and they're supposed to win it, I feel like Adam Cole would have been world champion by now.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like he is going to be world champion whenever he comes back, because Tony Khan, he's not someone that just, when they get injured, then they come back to scrap plan and start all over. Like he gives them their opportunity that they were originally supposed to be given.
No, he scraps plans in the middle of things. Sorry.
Chris Statlander. There's been some other ones that's been injured and they come back. Just with anything, like I like that about Tony Khan, that he doesn't forget about stuff and doesn't, like Finn Balor is the biggest example I can give. Like he won the Universal title, never got a rematch. I like that about AEW, that if someone gets injured and they're supposed to win something, when they come back, they still have the opportunity to do so. So I think Adam Cole will be kind of like Adam said, he's going to win it eventually. Like there's no way by the end of 2025 he hasn't won the title yet.
Well, I wanted to get you guys' opinion on a storyline. The Bryan Danielson, he's got this kind of these legacy matches that he's been having, which I think have been great. You almost like he's been able to, they're really pushing that, he's like being able to handpick some of these guys. Again, I'm not, I don't really follow any New Japan wrestling or anything that's happening over in Japan. Not really until I've been exposed to it through AEW. So some of the guys I just don't quite appreciate. I mean, I can appreciate that for, again, who they are. I just don't know them, and you can hear in the crowd. There's some good crowd hype about it. With it, I'm kind of finding, I'm not sure, is he heel, is he babyface? He does one match, he kind of does something heel, and then this week on Collision, he's very respectful. And I don't know if he's done it, if this was the first time, but he actually did the yes with his arms instead of like this. He just does this. He actually did it with the crowd. And I was like, oh, is he allowed to do it now? Because I thought, I don't know if that was a trademark thing. But he was putting his arms up and he'd walk down like this, but he was like the yes, he really was into it, right? So I hadn't seen it, so I thought that was kind of interesting. So Connor, just wanted to go Adam, maybe we'll go to Adam, since I know Adam's falling asleep. We want to make sure I don't forget him again.
I'm not falling asleep. I'm just leaning here listening.
Just want to get your opinion. How do you like this run, what they're doing with Bryan and Danielson?
Well, it's like I said with Pac. You don't know if he's a healer or face, but he plays the middle very well, with his character. And I think Bryan Danielson's doing pretty much the same. And yeah, I remember seeing him doing that with the crowd, doing the little bit of the yes with it. So kind of bringing back to his yes movement days. But yeah, no, I love some of the matches he's putting on. I think this match at Dynasty against Ospreay is going to be so good. I think that's the most anticipated match for me at that pay-per-view. I'm a Will Ospreay mark like no other, man. Like I love the guy's in-ring work. I love his attitude. I love his promos. The guy's all around what you want to see in a pro wrestler. He's just all around the right prototype of basically what you want to see in the ring. And basically, obviously, in a match, you'd like to see heel versus face. I mean, obviously, that's pretty much the thing of it in pro wrestling, face versus heel. But you do get the occasional face versus face, you know. So I think with Danielson, I think with him playing that middle, it kind of works because he is very. I think after that match with Kingston, he kind of leans towards the face now a little bit. You know, he's starting to become more humble, and you know his match Saturday against Shibata, right? Is that who it was?
Yeah.
I mean, that guy was Ring of Honor pure champion and very, very popular in New Japan. So the matches he's having are basically against guys from New Japan, like
Yeah.
and other promotions. It's matches that you would never see him do in a while. So I think right now, I think it's for his character. I think it's the right build towards the Dynasty match with Will Ospreay.
Agreed. Good points. Siren, how do you feel about this run?
I mean, I feel like a lot of people in the Blackpool Combat Club kind of fall under that grayish category. You know, they just fight people. I mean, Danielson is the one that you get to see, like, really he talks more and he interacts with people more. So you get to see, like, the more heely, the more face, like, but they really just fight people. Like, all of them just fight people. But yeah, no, I feel like at this point in Danielson's career, why not? Why not do that? Why not just go out and wrestle all the people that you want to wrestle right now and, whatever be damned. Like, it's kind of what he's doing anyway.
Which is nice is there's, he has a boss in Tony Khan that is for this, right? Because, and not everyone would have this ability to say, hey, who would you like to? We want to make sure and we want to get the opponents you want to get. I mean, that is investment from the ownership, which is great. That just shows the kind of respect that they have for Bryan Danielson to kind of give him this. Again, but he can play against anyone. He can match up against anyone. He's great, right? So again, I think Tony Khan's all in this, and this is his fanboy kind of coming out and giving him what he wants. It's going to be interesting. Adam, what you're saying there with, because Ospreay teeters on that. He's got some very heel in him as well. So these guys have mean streaks. So it is going to be, you're going to have those elements of the match. It's going to be heel versus heel or face versus face or heel versus face. So I think there's going to be a lot of, it's going to be, obviously we know it's going to be a lot of hard hitting the most, right? So it's going to be great. I'm excited. I think this could be a contender. We thought, match when his first match there could be match of the year, but I think this could be up there for match of the year as well. And Connor.
Yeah. Agreed.
Sorry. Adam?
No, I was going to say, just agreed. Yeah. With the match of the year, I agree.
For me, I don't know. Something with Danielson, I'm just not clicking with. I feel like he could be doing something better with what he's been given on Collision. He essentially replaced Punk on Collision, as that top guy, and I feel like it's not really about AEW anymore. It's about CMLL, New Japan. It's about anyone else except AEW, really. Which basically what Matt, not Mark. I didn't mean that as a joke. If you thought that, I just have Mark on my mind. But Danielson, I feel like he'll be doing a little bit better. I am excited for his match against Ospreay because that match has never happened, and it's essentially a dream match. Like, that's more of a dream match than Danielson and Shibata. I'm sorry, I don't know who Shibata is. No one's been wanting that match for years. This match is a very interesting match. Will Ospreay's a high flyer. Danielson's a technical wrestler. It's going to be very interesting to see how they mix up in the ring because it's two different styles of wrestling colliding against each other. But I expect Will Ospreay to win that. I don't think Will Ospreay is going to lose anytime soon. That's pretty much all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, I get your point. Saying, hey, you're bringing these guys in, and maybe some of these people, like, I have no idea who they are. I don't follow that. They're just taking spots away from the guys I like. I got to hand it to, because at least with Tony's, what he's doing is he really believes in a lot of this cross promotion. So obviously there's there's a reason for it. There's dollars behind it. It's cross promotion. It's more eyeballs. There's showcasing. But I like that he's using his national platform to showcase some of the lower levels, other organizations or organizations that just don't have the exposure within North America. So I get that as a fan saying, hey, you know what? There's some great stuff out there, and we can at least showcase it. And then if you want, go and watch some of their stuff. So I do get that, and I do appreciate the exposure, because other than that, I'm not exposed to that type of stuff. And there's some fantastic wrestlers. I mean, you guys watch other stuff and say, hey, this guy's amazing or that girl's amazing, and I just don't know, because I just don't have the time and capacity to watch everything. There's just so much wrestling nowadays.
Oh my God.
So I do appreciate it, and then sometimes it does give a showcase. Like, I mean, Jericho's been loving the influx of his Mexican competitors to show off his Lionheart. So that's interesting. But I know we're getting close to the hour, and I just wanted to the shift to get your guys' opinion, as we have the Dynamite coming up tomorrow night in Toronto, and kind of a fitting big match, and with Christian and Adam Copeland, and it all ends where it all started in Toronto with an I Quit match. Which I think is going to be a great match. And he also debuted his little buddy Spike, that he was, I guess, after his conversation with Mrs. Foley's baby boy, and getting the blessing and reminding him of who he is, and he has his dark spots. So it'll be interesting. I'm excited for it. Connor, how do you see this match?
Just to go off what he pulled up, if anyone remembers this, on SmackDown, Kurt Angle had that same type of. I told the Star knows what I'm about to say, but the thing that he carried out, Kurt Angle used a tranquilizer gun on Big Show one time. It was on SmackDown years ago, so I thought Edge was gonna pull out a tranquilizer gun and he was gonna shoot someone with it. But but someone posted a picture of what it was really close, and it was really spiky. That makes sense. It's called Spike or whatever it's called. I got a lot of Abyss vibes with that. Not so much Mick Foley. I could see Mick Foley, but more so Abyss for me, just because that's exactly like Abyss would carry out. He would name it. I forget what Abyss would call his stuff, but he would always give it a name or something, which I thought was kind of cool. And at this point, Edge is very psychotic. At this point, he's out to destroy Christian. It's more than just a title match. It's a personal match, and I really like it's in Toronto. I think this match is going to be really, really good. I think their last match at World's End was really good. It could have possibly been the match of the year 2023 if it wasn't so late in the year. I don't know how they topped that match at World's End, but knowing Edge and knowing Christian, how can you top a Flaming Table? Well, I feel like they know what they're going to do. I feel like they've set the expectations high. I'm curious to see what they do, because I feel like they're going to lay it all out on the line. Especially, I don't think this is their last match ever against each other, because they can revisit this feud anytime they wanted, as them getting back together as a tag team, or feuding over the world title, or so many things I can do with that in the future. But for right now, I thought this is going to close the chapter for this feud. For right now, I thought they're going to lay it all out there. I think Edge is going to take the win and get the TNT title back. Christian could win, but this time it's an I Quit match. I don't see Edge saying I quit. If Christian does win, it's going to be by Edge getting knocked out. Like, he's not able to say I quit. That's the way that ends. I don't see Edge saying I quit. It's going to be Christian saying I quit, which is going to be a really, really good match. I'm excited for it. And as I said, I'm glad it's in Toronto. It's fitting to talk about this match on here because it's AEZ Canada. Toronto. Yeah, I'm really excited about this match. This match could be possibly match of the year, depending on how they top it. I'm really how they top World's End match is gonna be interesting. But I'm really, really excited for tomorrow night.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited as well. And Adam, how do you? Are we going to end up with a new champion? And do you think we're going to see Beth Phoenix make an appearance?
Well, to answer Connor's question, Janice was the name of Abyss's weapon in TNA.
Yeah,
The board, the 2x4 that had the nails in it was Janice. Again, TNA guy. So yeah, no, I think we see. I'm 50-50 on it. I'm 50-50 on the match tomorrow. just because of the promo Edge gave on Saturday. He did do some reminiscing about his time with Mick Foley, doing some matches there with him back in WWE as far as hardcore and all that stuff. But the fact of him saying, I quit on a microphone, is giving me bad vibes of pre-recorded voiceovers of people saying I quit in other matches that they can use to their advantage. And that gives me kind of that feel of Christian, because you remember he's got that whole group that, you know, you have Nick, Mama Wayne, Luchasaurus. So Nick or Mama Wayne could have pre-recorded that, and when Christian's in the match, one of them can signal it and put a mic against their hand with the phone and kind of voice the I quit that Adam Copeland said on Saturday. On the other hand, I would like to see this match just go straight to balls to the wall where Copeland wins it. And I do want to see Beth Phoenix kind of come out and even the odds with Mama Wayne, and maybe even powerbomb Nick Wayne, you know? So kind of take out Nick Wayne as well. But anything can happen in this match. It could go either way. As much as I'd like to say it, I'd like to see Adam Copeland win. But like I said, because I gave my prediction about a good story to follow through on how to get these two guys back together as a team. Mm-hmm. But to see Adam Copeland win it and hold it for a while for basically his last go in professional wrestling before he hangs up his boots for good. I as much as I loved Christian running with it as the patriarch and the TNT champion, I do want to see Edge win it and hold it for a while and then finally lose it and kind of come back around to the senses with Christian. Wherever they go with that, either Edge loses his mind, turns heel with Christian, they're heel edging Christian, or Christian's whole patriarchy family falls apart after that and he goes face and joins Adam Copeland. So it could go either way. In my opinion, I'd like to see Adam Copeland win it.
You saying like the whole finish, I want to see Chris's reaction to that. Because if anyone remembers Chris's reaction to Edge winning, then losing, I want to see that Chris's reaction. That would be priceless. So I hope that happens now.
Nice. Right. Siren.
I mean, I hope Adam Copeland wins. I love the whole Spike thing. He got real weird with it and was like licking it and stuff. I dig that. I think that was great. Get a little weird, right? So yeah, no, I mean, I'm really excited about it. Plus, I'm kind of tired of. I know everyone's like, "Yay, Christian Cage! He's doing so." I get that. He is doing so much for the title. But I want to see Luchasaurus snap. I want to see things progress. I do. I've been waiting. It's not like it's not impatiently waiting. It's been good. The wait has been, eventful, but like I'm very actually an impatient person. So like I want to see stuff happen. But yeah, no, I really do hope that Adam Copeland wins.
Yeah, you know what? I think that there's just so many spots here that would get a massive, massive pop. I think Adam's going to win the title. He can't get screwed twice in a row. Adam, I like your points. I never even thought about it. I like the voiceover work and that kind of. I love that kind of cheat. I never even thought of that. That's actually very interesting. I'm surprised it's never actually been done before. Or has it?
It has. A long time ago, the I Quit match between The Rock and Mick Foley. I believe Mick Foley was doing a promo on Raw, and he made the whole I Quit. It was back when he was doing his Mankind character, and The Rock literally hit him over the head with the chair so much, and then put the mic underneath, and they played the audible there. And then there was a match, I want to say, between The Miz and John Cena, where they did a recording of John Cena saying I quit, and it was on O'Reilly's Alex Riley's phone, and the ref saw it and said the match restarted. So they've done it quite a few times of audio and kind of like I quit, so you never know.
Yeah, interesting. I never heard that point, but I think it'd be a great spot if Beth Phoenix can come back. I think that'd be a huge pop. I like the idea of her power bombing Nick Wayne. I think that would be really cool. Um, and come to the rescue of her husband. So I think that'd be a great finish to be like a storybook ending to that. And then I'd love to see what's going to happen if they can get Edge and Christian back for one more final run. I think that would be amazing. I think most fans are up for it. I think they'd be excited and behind the whole thing, which is great. So I guess we'll find out tomorrow night. That's going to be on Dynamite. So we'll be able to talk about that on our next show next week. But just wanted to, Connor, I know you, as we come up to our hour of the show, Connor, you wanted to talk about something.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
we do the AEZ. We've kind of incorporated this with Amar's story. He's not, or Amar's story time. He's not on here tonight, so we try to incorporate new things in new AEZ Canada. We did it with the I did the Bret Hart interesting facts to 1 week, and then the next week I did the top 5 Canadian wrestlers. So now I got a little bit something different. Uh, this is a wrestler that we don't really talk about much when we think about Canadian wrestling, or people do, but maybe not as much as others like Bret Hart and others. But Bobby Roode, Bobby Roode is a really great wrestler. He was in TNA, WWE, an amazingly talented individual. I would have loved to see Bobby Roode and Triple H. Uh, that that would have happened. But he is from Peter. This is going to be interesting. Pronounced Peter Rush. He's from Canada. Peter. If you want to look it up, you can try to pronounce it. But Bobby Roode was in TNA. Most people know him as. He came to WWE. He went to the main roster. But some facts people may not know about him. This is a very, very, very interesting fact that much like Bret Hart, he didn't want to be a wrestler. But, Bret Hart wanted to be someone, an artist. Well, Bobby Roode wanted to be a baker, believe it or not. And then he got almost went into the police department or the police force. That was the thing. He's had a wild history, and I want to. The person that does any of you know who trained Bobby Roode?
Was that
There's technically two people.
Was that Scott? Scott D'Amore trained him, didn't he?
Yeah, Scott D'Amore and Val Venus. Believe it or not, you wouldn't expect Val Venus to train someone like Bobby Roode, but it's probably Scott D'Amore. It makes sense. Team Canada, Bobby Roode. That kind of the story came full circle with that. Bobby Roode. His first wrestling name was very weird. He was named the Totally Awesome. Like Total and Lee and Awesome. That was his first name. He started wrestling in Quebec, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
He actually started wrestling at the same wrestling school, or not the same wrestling school, but he wrestled the same places that Edge and Christian first started wrestling at. He worked as an enhancement talent for WWE on Velocity a few times. He had blonde hair, very unrecognizable Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode also beer money. I don't think you can talk about Bobby Roode without mentioning beer money. Every time I open a drink or something, you hear the clicking sound, I always think of beer money. I always have to say it after it. You open a cold one and beer money, like beer money was something I always liked. He also teamed with Chris Harris, America's Most Wanted. I feel like that gets talked a little bit about more, but beer money was something I liked more. And here's an interesting fact: beer money. Bobby Roode hasn't talked to James Storm since leaving TNA, which is wild. He left TNA years ago. He hasn't talked to James Storm since. I actually met James Storm one time, and I told him that this was the time where Bobby Roode was doing his Glorious thing, like the Glorious. And I said, if James Storm ever went to WWE, I would like to see the Glorious Storm. Because at that time it would be impossible to use beer money in NXT or something like that. So Glorious Storm and getting back together, I thought would have been a nice team. Believe it or not, Bobby Roode's theme song, "The Glorious," was not intended for him, as AJ Styles' theme song was not intended for him. It was intended for James Storm. Bobby Roode's theme song was originally intended for Shinsuke Nakamura, believe it or not. Could you imagine Shinsuke Nakamura coming out to Glorious?
Hmm.
I don't see it. I
No.
don't see that.
Um, to your point there, Connor, I just want to chime in. I wasn't exposed. I didn't know Bobby Roode before he went to NXT. I thought he was a great character. I saw him in Toronto, and I think he lost the title to Samoa Joe,
Yeah.
at the Scotiabank Arena, and that was one of their takeover shows, which was amazing. It was a real shame, kind of the way he kind of, he wasn't utilized the same way on the main roster. But I thought he was a great wrestler. He had some great rivalries in NXT, and I thought it was a shame that it wasn't able to translate. And I liked when he was tagging with Dolph Ziggler there. I thought that was a good tag team. But again, I just felt again underutilized. But then, no, great
Yeah.
wrestler.
Yeah,
Great
the
wrestler.
town and the town you're thinking of, it's pronounced Peterborough, Ontario.
Yeah.
I was looking at a map and I was looking at the word. I was like, oh, that's Peterborough. But yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed Bobby Roode. I agree. I don't think he was utilized as well as he should have been in WWE. He did win some titles. I mean, obviously in WWE, he was NXT champion, the US champion. He was tag team champion on Raw and SmackDown. He was the United States champion, tournament winner. But most of his success came in TNA. And that's where I remember him from. And I'm like you, Connor. I was a beer money guy in TNA. I loved him and James Storm as beer money. Just them come to the ring, James drinking that beer and them just shaking it in the crowd. I'm like, there's kids in the crowd that are probably getting soaked with that beer, but they don't care. But yeah, Beer Money was obviously, remember, America's Most Wanted. That's the one talked about the most. But yeah, Beer Money was definitely such an underrated tag team in TNA.
And we're talking about Beer Money. It was a house show of TNA in 07. My grandmother probably never want me to tell this story, but I'm going to because she's probably not watching this. So in 06, 07, TNA had a house show. Beer, like Adam was saying, the beer goes everywhere. Well, James Storm actually kissed my grandmother in the crowd.
That's awesome.
Because she was mad that that there was the beer everywhere and it got in her purse everywhere, and she was mad about it. Then to make it up, James Storm proceeded to give her a kiss. I wish I would have had like back then phones weren't really a thing, but I've always remembered that going to the TNA house show and that happening. Hopefully she never watches this, because if she does, then she'll be really pissed about it. But yeah, that was interesting adventure, to say the least. Yeah, I thought all of his success came from TNA. I feel like it didn't come from I feel like people who watched TNA knew who he was in NXT. Of course, there were some that didn't know him because WWE's a larger audience, but I feel like a majority, at least that NXT fan base, knew who he was, because when back then they used to debut new talents at takeovers in the crowd, like they had Drew McIntyre, EC3, they had a lot of people like that. But Bobby Roode, a lot of his success came from TNA. That's when a lot of people say that he had the best TNA World Championship run ever, and still people still talk about that. I hope he did do an interview recently saying he's not retired, but he's a producer backstage for WWE, and that's what he likes doing that right now. But I hope he is 47 years old. He doesn't look 47. He looks at least in his 30s. But I hope, which Triple H is very high on Bobby Roode, he brought him to WWE, that he gets to finish his career the right way. I'd like to see just a year run with him as a single, at least 1 year, give him a good final send off. I would like to see him go back to TNA, but at this point, I don't know. Besides Josh Alexander, I don't know who he would go against. I would like to see Beer Money get back together one day, and yeah.
Is he able to wrestle though?
Yeah, he did get injured. He's cleared, but once he got injured, he wasn't really doing anything, and they offered him a producer role. So he kind of took that while he was injured, and I'm guessing he's running with that now more than focusing on his in-ring career. which if that's what he's happy with, all power to him.
So
But I would like to see, yeah, I would like to see him finish his career off. I feel like he could be a good world heavyweight champion in WWE. Heel, face, I always liked him as a heel. But either way, he can play both good. And there's a lot of details I can get to him. There's a lot of interesting facts about Bobby Roode, especially him wanting to be a baker. That's something that floored me. Like, can you imagine he doesn't do wrestling, he's a baker the rest of his life.
That's very cool. That I mean, he's like a lot of these guys you hear. A lot of the wrestlers have, if they weren't wrestling, it'd be interesting. It's really interesting what some of these guys would be doing. Being a baker is right up there for sure, which is great. No, it's good. I mean, I'd love to see if there's an opportunity for to see Bobby Roode back and, like you said, finish on a high note. I always thought he was a great wrestler, underutilized. Let's see what happens. But again, some of these guys, I mean, if he's in for a longevity of a type of career, I mean, his body's been through a lot of damage. He's 47. If he can do in the back, he's still being able to be creative, still being paid, easy and able to keep his body. You know what? I get it why some of these guys want to do that, because that's where that's the longevity part, right? That's where he can be doing that for years. Siren, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I think that AEW hopefully will be one of those companies that will earn itself a reputation for putting legends out the right way. I mean, hopefully, right? And if you want to end your career as somebody who's had a long, lustrous, amazing career and you want to end it properly, AEW. I mean, I'm hoping anyway. They did well with Sting. I mean, you still got Billy Gunn in there that I'm watching. Like, I mean, I hope they do good with you. I mean, they've been showcasing the man. Granted, he's super talented. It's not like he didn't earn it. But yeah, like I feel like hopefully AEW will gain that reputation, and then we'll get to see a lot of amazing careers just go that way. Danielson's doing his thing. He's not like an older gent or anything like that, but he's been around. He's been wrestling for a while. He's done some amazing things, and he chose to end his career in AEW, and hopefully they do it right. And hopefully that trend continues.
Yeah. Speaking, and just I kind of want to put this on the side note about careers, coming to an end and kind of on the right note. Just reading today that more Rhodeses are about to wrestle. So the nephews of Dustin and Cody are actually debuting this weekend at the Rhodes Wrestling Academy Showcase event as a tag team. Their nephews, Wyatt and Wayne Rhodes. They're going to be wrestling as the Texas Outlaws. Is going to be their tag team name. Pretty much an honor from their grandfather's tag team with Dick Murdoch. So we talk about like careers ending the right way, but then careers starting. So it's kind of cool. And we talk about legacy of wrestlers ending and what legacy they leave behind for the younger generation. I mean, we saw it with Sting leaving a legacy with Darby Allin and kind of trending him in the right direction of a career. We could see that with Bobby Roode. As Bobby Roode hangs up his shoes, what can he share with younger talent? Will he pair up with a younger talent on the end of his career like Sting did and kind of guide him? So I thought that was just a very interesting like segue with what I was reading about the nephews, and then we're talking about Bobby Roode's career ending, and these kids are about to start their career. So it's like that whole view that we see on pro wrestling and talk about these memories when this younger generation of wrestlers are coming in to make memories of their own.
100%.
Yeah, no, I think that's actually so really cool. And I think people are into it more than ever. People love to see the legacy stuff. They love to see, especially us who have been, I think especially Adam and I have been watching wrestling for a long time and seeing when they, a lot of these guys were just at their prime, and then be able to see their kids or nephews or daughters, kind of come into it and take over, and it kind of keeps the name. And I do like how the one thing I didn't like is I didn't like when WWE didn't use the flair for Charlotte at first, and they wanted her to have your own character. But I mean, she is what it is. Everyone knows she's a Flair. Just say Flair and let her have it, right? I don't like just like Braun Breaker, for example. I think he should be a Steiner, right? Why are you? I know you're all about trying to make their own character, make their own way, but at the end of the day, people still know. And why not? Just use the name. I mean, look at Rhodes, like, you know, and the Flairs, and you know, they're using these legacy names, right? So,
But
go ahead.
William Regal's son is in NXT wrestling right now. They
Is
got
he?
him. Yeah, they got him called something completely different. Like they actually had William Regal come back on NXT TV, and he was in the in ring doing a promo. And he did a promo with the son. His name's Charlie Dimsey. You have to look. He's on
Yeah,
the.
Charles Dempsey. Yeah, Charles Dempsey
It should be Charlie Regal, really.
or Charlie Dempsey. Yeah.
It should be
Do they
Charlie Regal.
acknowledge it, or they don't? They're not acknowledging it.
No, they're not. Or at least I don't think they have. They did do a promo with each other, but
There are people on the other end of it too, though, right? Like, yeah, we all know like Cody was like Stardust, and then he couldn't get his name, and that was a really big bummer. But then there's people who come in like Brian Pillman Jr. and who are like, nah, I don't want to do that. And like, so I mean, it really at the end of the day, I mean, I hope that it comes down to what the wrestler wants, and we don't ever have another Cody Rhodes situation where somebody's fighting for the legality to use their own GD name ever again. I really hope that doesn't ever become a thing. But I mean, if you don't want to be known as that guy junior or that lady junior, whatever, I get that too. But like, yeah, I mean, if people want to be legacy, 100%, they should be able to use their own name. It's their name.
I throw this out there. You know, the most royalty-ist family, I guess not royalty, but ever-growing family is the Samoan family. You know, Umanga's son is wrestling now. Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu's actually teaming with someone else. Haku's son, Tama Tonga's coming to WWE. He actually has two daughters in women's wrestling, the Tonga twins. They'll be coming to the main roster pretty soon. Jay Uso's, the Uso's sons are starting to train now a little bit too.
There's like a whole family business.
So there's going to be some new Usos. I look for the Samoans to get into the women's tag title division in WWE. Like, I don't think that family will ever stop having wrestlers at this point. Like, that family is stacked for the. Like, there will never be a point in wrestling where there's not Samoans involved, which I like.
Absolutely cool. It's so cool.
Great. Well, guys, you know, we're coming up to our time here. It was great. Another insightful show, exciting. Another great week of wrestling talk and so many storylines to look into and follow. So again, we'll be able to see what happens next week when we talk about some of the big matches from this Dynamite and everything else that happens in the world of AEW. And of course, if there's anything significant that happens in the world of professional wrestling at all, we'll always chat on that. But you know, thanks again, guys. You know, Connor, Adam, Siren, thanks again for joining. Another great episode. And thanks for everyone who tuned in to watch. And thanks for all the comments, guys. And please like and subscribe and tell all your family and friends. And we'll be back next week. Have a great week, guys. And we'll see you soon.
Bye.